Hi everyone, welcome back to Sports Kathi. And with me today I have Rohit and Bhanu. Uh, and we are looking at what happened during the Sydney Test, which we drew, with a very good resilient performance. I couldn't see much of the match, but I especially saw the action on the last day when we had Hanuma Vihari and Ashwin, who were actually injured, but really fought it through. I don't want to waste much of your time. I want to go to Bhanu, who actually saw much of the match and was very emotional about it. What do you think, Bhanu, about this performance at Sydney?
Hey, Vaishakh, Rohit, man. Guys, thank you once again for having me on your podcast. Seriously started looking to this time of the week more and more. So thank you for doing this. It's just been 3 days since the Sydney Test got over. And here we are. I haven't had enough time to even remember and go over through all the 5 days of that Test match. And here we are at the evening eve of yet another crucial Test match of the series. Can't wait to see the toss tomorrow morning at the Gabba. And funnily, my brother Karan will be watching that match. He's not here with us today, but I'm sure he'll be cheering on behalf of all of us and all the Sports Kathi fans. So do drop in your best wishes to Karan, everybody. Coming back to our Sydney game, that was seriously one hell of a Test match, right? Right from the beginning, it kept taking different turns on all 5 days of the Test match. And I remember watching a particular chart at the end of the Test match which said Australia had won more sessions of the game, individual sessions, but yet the game was a draw. And what a draw that was, right? Just looking at the score, India were sent into bat on day 4 final session with around 130 plus overs to defend and chase mammoth total of 407. And I'm sure all of us at the back of our minds were hoping for a miracle at that time. We were hoping our team can find the courage and strength to defend the total, play in innings like Smith and Labuschagne did for Australia in the first innings, and in fact the second innings when they batted at the SCG, made the pitch look like very different. But on day 5, when we woke up and after Rahane got out, with Hanuma Vihari, he had a hamstring pulled out. Ashwin came into play with painkillers and a backache, and Ravindra Jadeja was sitting in the dressing room with a broken thumb. How much hope could have even made you believe that India would not lose the match that day? But that's exactly what happened. It was a draw that we remember for ages. We will discuss this with the fans of the future, and how relentless India was in making sure that we emerged out not losing in the game. It really showed the spirit of this young Indian cricket team. We never gave up hope, even against one of the best and most relentless attacks in Test cricket right now. And to pull off that kind of a comeback for me was nothing short of a team spirit, a team that did not want to lose in the middle of the ground. No matter how much pressure was sent from Cummins, by Stark, by Hazelwood with the quick ball, and Nathan Lyon with all the aggressive fielding placements and rough bowling in the roughs. Ravichandran Ashwin and Hanuma Vihari really played one innings for the entire country that day, I believe. They had a partnership of 42 and a half overs, 256 balls, if I'm not wrong. And both of them exactly faced 128 balls in that partnership, exactly half-half. Goes to show they had it completely planned. They were determined and they had the grit to make sure that India lost day 5 completely. Couple of other very important events in the Test match were definitely the racial abuse, the topic of racial abuse that came out at the end of the match and at the end of a couple of days play. In fact, we all hope that the Australian fans respect the fact that the Indian team has travelled abroad. We have been on the road for 6 months on the trot now. Some of our players have gone to IPL, done quarantine there, and followed all rules to represent their country in Australia. So I really hope the crowds pull their socks together and cheer cricket, cheer the sport that's happening. Australia is a really lucky country to be having sports going on in the times of pandemic. But for me, I think the cherry on the cake was all the backlash that the Australian team and specifically Tim Paine is having to face after the Sydney Test match. I think that banter in the game went a little more than it should have. Ravichandran Ashwin, in all his rights, make sure that he comes out on top of that battle. And it will be very interesting to see the temperament of both the teams as we go into the Brisbane match. No complaints as a fan from my side. I hope all of you tune in to watch the Gabba match with the same amount of excitement. The only sour patch that the Sydney match has left for all of us is the number of injuries that our squad is plagued with. Our seam attack is almost as thin as it can ever look like. And with the injury to Jadeja and all the clouds over Rishabh Pant and Ashwin, it will be an interesting selection to watch for. And I let Vaishakh walk us all fans through the injuries that the Indian team is facing so that we get an idea of what to expect in the team composition can be.
Yeah, that was a well-explained review for Sydney. And yeah, Karan is going to watch Brisbane. So if he's not here, I hope he has a good show over there at the match. And he has some good photographs to show us as well after the match. Let's get to the injuries, as you said. As what I saw in the fifth day of Sydney was few injured players playing, Rishabh Pant, Ravichandran Ashwin, and then you go with Hanuma Vihari as well. So I just made, a list of how many injuries have happened. I mean, you look at the three main fast bowlers that we took to Australia are injured. That is Mohammad Shami, Umesh Yadav, and Jasprit Bumrah. Our main spinner, who was injured when we started, is again injured with a finger dislocation, Ravindra Jadeja. We have our keeper, whom we thought like he should be the man who's keeping because of his batting prowess. Rishabh Pant is out, injured with an injury to his elbow. Hanuma Vihari has a hamstring tear, and he's also out as well. KL Rahul got injured while training, and he has injured his wrist, and he also is out for the series. And we have two minor injuries to Mayank Agarwal and Ravichandran Ashwin. Mayank Agarwal has an injured arm, which he injured while training, as well as Ravichandran Ashwin has a sprained back. I would still think Mayank Agarwal and Ravichandran Ashwin might still play. We have not still got any confirmation from the Indian staff. Let's get to Rohit to know more about the Brisbane match and who are the replacements. Washington Sundar, Shardul Thakur, these names are really mentioned. What do you think about the Brisbane match?
Thanks for that. Thanks for lead up. And yes, too many injuries for our liking. Having said that, I feel what this shows is that even with so many injuries, we are still competing, as Bhanu said, in the review of the Sydney Test. We are still competing. We are still going, head to head with the Australian team. That's commendable. That just shows how good our bench strength is. And now for this final test, we have to go to the deepest of our reserves and, play every single player who has come into the squad and give them a chance to show that, we can compete even in the final test. Now, having said that, what I think going into the final match with the injuries in hand, what I think the Indian team would look like is this. I expect Mayank Agarwal to come into the team. Now, there are still talks going on whether he is fit or not. That during practice he had a small injury, so we are not sure what the seriousness of the injury is. So if he is fit, I would expect him to come into the team. So for me, he will slot at number 3. So that means Rohit Sharma and Shubman Gill open the batting, Mayank Agarwal at number 3. And if he's not fit, then Prithvi Shaw would be the obvious replacement. So that's Agarwal or Prithvi Shaw at number 3. Cheteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane will move down in order. So that's 4 and 5 for them. Rishabh Pant will be at number 6 and he'll play as a specialist batsman. I expect Ridhiman Zaha to play as the keeper, more for just that because, we want to stretch our batting as much as possible. So that's another reason that I would expect Saha to play. So Saha would come in at 7. Ravichandran Ashwin, again, there are rumors. I mean, we did see during the final test and we did see, Ashwin himself tweeting about it, talking about it, and Ashwin's wife tweeting about it, saying that, he was playing through an injury during the final day. So if that is the case, and if he's not fit enough, he will not play. But I hope he is fit enough. There is nothing that's come out solid enough to say that he will not be available. So I am counting that he's available. So if he's available, he would be at number 8 and he would be our spinner. In case if he's not available, then we have to look at Kuldeep Yadav to come into play. I wouldn't expect Washington Sundar to come in and play. I was just looking at his domestic numbers. Not bad numbers, but I don't think it's time for to get a debut and directly play in Australia. And his batting numbers again, those numbers are not something great to write about. He has a batting average of 30 odd in domestic cricket, not something which we really should go in. And especially when given that he would be our only spin bowler, I would think Kuldeep Yadav would be the more obvious choice. So, but I am hoping in my team it's Ravichandran Ashwin for now. Shardul Thakur is the pacer I've gone with. So in number 9, two reasons for that. One is, he has more experience in Ranji Trophy or domestic cricket compared to Natarajan. So I've gone for Shardul Thakur on pure experience. And also second fact, which is that I want to extend the batting lineup as much as possible. And Shardul Thakur is definitely a better batsman than Natarajan. So for me, he slots in at number 9. But primary reason he's there is the experience. And just for information for viewers, casual viewers, Thakur, unlike Natarajan, has already made his debut in Test match, but unfortunately, he could only bowl 10 balls before he got injured. So I hope if he makes a debut, his debut is way more eventful than what happened last time around for him. Navdeep Saini and Siraj would be our two bowlers. Something interesting is that Siraj, in his third Test, would be the most experienced of the fast bowlers we have, and he will be leading the line. It's something which I am sure even he wouldn't have pictured when he made his debut a couple of matches back. So that's my team for India. When I come to the Australian team, they have their own injury line, but it's not not as severe as Indian. And what they've decided is they have come out and told that David Warner will play the match. So David Warner, if you have seen in the third match, you must have seen that he did have its own constraints while running. He was not at full pace, but what the Australian team has come and told that he will play the final match. So that's sorted out. But they've also said the other way around. His opening partner, Pukoski, will not play the match at Brisbane. Rather, Marcus Harris will be coming back to the team. And I think as an Indian team, we are familiar with Marcus Harris because he did play a couple of matches last time around when India toured Australia. But having said that is not the Marcus Harris that is now. I was looking at his domestic numbers recently, and his numbers have been pretty good this season. Actually, compared to Pukoski, their numbers are head-to-head. So it wouldn't be a big drop in performance when it goes to Harris. It really will depend on how we play them. So that's the lineup I've gone with Australia. The only change is Marcus Harris comes in for Pukoski. Otherwise, the entire lineup stays as it is. I am not saying that the bowling will be the same, but I have not heard anything that says that the bowling will change. But the way Mitchell Starc performed or performed in the last match, which is slightly below par, I wouldn't be surprised if they go with a different pacer in Nesser or someone over Mitchell Starc. But I wouldn't expect that. I would think they will go with the same 4 in Cummins, Starc, Hazelwood, and Lyon. So that's the team for Australia. Now, talking about teams, I also want to touch up a bit about the Brisbane pitch. And, I just was recently, surfing through Reddit, and I did see people sharing the latest picture of the Brisbane pitch. It looks flat, I would say, in many ways. They have taken the grass off. It looks flat, but it's going to bounce. Now, that's going to be a challenge for the Indian lineup because unlike what you have seen in Sydney or in Melbourne, this pitch here is going to give us bounce. And historically, this has troubled batsmen, not just Indians, but troubled batsmen from every country. And the famous stat which Australians would like to say is that since 1989, no one has beaten Australia in Brisbane. Now that's well and true, and that's something which they can be proud of, and that's a fact. But I would say, as an Indian fan, we have something positive to look forward to. Firstly, India have played only 3 matches in that period of 30 years in Brisbane, and in that 30 years, yes, we have only drawn 1 match and lost 2. But if you look closer into that, we can see that in the match which we drew, we actually had we were actually having the upper hand before the rain came into play. And then even the 2014 match, if you look at the scorecard in that, we actually started well. We scored 400 plus runs thanks to a century from Murli Vijay. But then it was our inability to dismiss the tailenders, especially Johnson and Starc, which hurt us. And they went on to take a lead, and then India capitulated in the second innings. But even then, the match went on to, I think, it was a close affair. They went on to win by only 4 wickets. So it was not a very one-sided match. And having said that, so Indian team now, with the spirit they've shown in Sydney, with the character they showed, which Ajinkya Rahane rightly praised. With that character, I think the Indian team has the ability to really put up a fight. And if the pitch is going to be bouncy and going to get some what do you say, wickets, I think our bowling lineup can take these wickets. Saini, Siraj and Shardul Thakur might be new, but I think they can put the batsman under pressure. One thing I'm really hoping for, and what I really hope that can happen, what can decide a lot of things, is the toss. And I hope that India can win the toss and bat first, because the pitch, at least on the first day, would be flat and would be good for batting. And I hope India can use that and bat first and bat well. Because Indian batting, at least the top four, when I say top four, the main openers and Pujara and Rahane, they have been playing relatively well. And if they can get a good score in, I think we can make a match of it. And if things go south, I was also looking at the weather. And, when I'm looking at the weather, there is rain forecasted here. So we have, as of today, when I'm looking at there is forecast of rain for the second day and even for the final day. So that means if things are not working well for India, we can at least look at the rain or look at the forecast weather and say that, okay, we can just put enough up for maybe say something to bring the draw up. That's also sufficient. Because for me, any result that is not an Australian win is a win for India, given what we are going through in terms of injury crisis. So big kudos for India so far, how the series have gone by, and I really hope India can finish up series with a win. But even a draw would be a win for India. So that's pretty much my review or preview for the Australians for the Brisbane Test. And to our viewers, if you have something to add on to, please do share it, do comment on it, and as usual, do like, share, and subscribe if you have not already subscribed to the channel. So that's pretty much it. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to Bhanu and Vaishakh for joining in, and stay safe and goodbye.